the Hydra base, Bucky grabbed one of Natasha's old rifles and the two stepped inside, only to find Tony already there. Zemo had leaked the evidence to Tony. Fueled by the truth, Tony had flown in to help, unknowing that he was walking straight into Zemo's trap. And just like that, Cap, Iron Man, and Bucky were all together to watch that tape. The tape from 1991, the night Tony Stark's parents were murdered. When the footage ended, Tony snapped. No more politics, no more sides, just vengeance. But from Bucky's side, it was no less tragic. He was a war hero turned weapon. If he'd had any say in it, he might have wished he'd never fallen from that train all those years ago. Some say that if Bucky had just apologized, the fight might have been avoided. But things were never that simple. Remember earlier in the movie when Rhodey was accidentally hit by Vision's beam? Falcon tried to apologize, but Tony still lashed out. When Tony sees someone he cares about get hurt, logic takes a back seat. In moments like this, Tony needs to blow off steam before he can think straight again. And to be fair, at the end of the film, Tony does let Cap break their teammates out of prison. A quiet sign of forgiveness. That's why Cap had only one move: buy Bucky enough time to escape. Only after the rage passed could they even begin to talk. So phase 1 of the fight was simple. Bucky runs, Steve stalls. But fate had other plans. Tony launched a missile and blew out the exit. Bucky's escape failed, and this time Bucky didn't hide. He took the blame. Because real atonement isn't saying sorry. With no way out, the battle moved into phase 2. Now Cap and Bucky were both fighting Tony head-on. And for Steve, this was hell. He loved them both. If Bucky emerged victorious, Tony would still be safe. But if Tony prevailed, it could cost Bucky his life. Steve had no choice but to help disable Tony's arc reactor. Bucky made his move, but got his metal arm sliced off in the process. Cap, outmatched, was barely holding on. At the last second, Bucky bought him an opening. Cap lunged and shattered the arc reactor. Tony, defeated, told Cap to leave the shield behind, and so he did. Cap dropped the shield and walked away, carrying his wounded best friend out of that frozen tomb. After Steve and Bucky left the base, they ran into Black Panther, who had just captured Zemo. To make amends for wrongly accusing Bucky, T'Challa decided to offer Wakanda's help and technology for Bucky's recovery. After handing Zemo over, they flew to the raft, the floating prison. Then Cap made his move. He jumped from the jet and fought his way inside barehanded, taking down every guard along the way. Ross tried calling Tony for backup, but Tony ghosted him. Just like that, Steve rescued the 4 imprisoned teammates. In the post-credit scene, we saw Black Panther offering Wakandan tech to help Bucky heal, and Bucky, of his own volition, asked to be put into cryosleep. Until a way was found to erase Hydra's programming, he wanted to stay asleep. For the next year, Shuri and the Wakandan scientists worked tirelessly. Bit by bit, they dismantled the mental trap Hydra had built inside his mind. Then came the day. In a quiet mountain hut, Dora Milaje Lieutenant Io conducted the final test. She recited the Winter Soldier trigger words one by one. As Bucky listened, memories of his darkest moments flooded back. But when the final phrase was spoken, he didn't lose control. He was still himself. Io smiled and told him, "You are free."
You are free.
Bucky's tears said it all. Sebastian Stan nailed the moment. Since then, Bucky lived quietly in Wakanda. The children there gave him a new nickname, White Wolf. In the comics, the White Wolf was King T'Chaka's adopted son and T'Challa's non-biological brother. Giving that name to Bucky was a symbol of acceptance. But peace never lasts in the Marvel Universe. When Thanos came knocking, Wakanda rallied all available forces. Bucky received a new vibranium arm forged by the Black Panther himself, and of course, he was ready to fight again. Only to spend 2 whole movies just shooting a gun with that vibranium arm. Still, we got to see him reunited with Steve, and even paired up with Hawkeye again. But when it comes to Infinity War and Endgame, let's be honest. These battles had already escalated way beyond what super soldiers could handle. In the final moments of Infinity War, Bucky was snapped out of existence. His last word, simply,
"Steve?"
In Endgame, there was no dramatic battlefield reunion between Steve and Bucky. Nothing like Tony and Peter's emotional scene, and that's a bit of a shame. But after the final fight, they did get a quiet moment. Steve went on his time travel mission to return the stones. From the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, we later learn Steve had already told Bucky what he was planning. He also told him he'd be passing on the shield.
Don't do anything stupid till I get back.
Don't do anything stupid until I get back.
How can I? Taking all the stupid with you.
How can I? You're taking all this stupid with you. Gonna miss you, buddy.
It's gonna be okay, Buck.
5 seconds passed. Sam started panicking, but Bucky, he just looked calmly off into the distance. As the curtain closed on Marvel's first decade, Bucky's story reached a natural pause. But it's far from over. So how did Bucky help Sam step into the mantle of Captain America? How did he finally find peace with himself? We'll talk about that next time.